Hello, my name is Mehyar Sawaz. In this video I'm going to show you how to create a simple workflow in SpiceCRM. So let's start with the first question. What is a workflow in the CRM? A workflow in the CRM is just an automated process for a module to be scheduled or immediately executed. For instance, opportunities module. When you create an opportunity or have some changes on it, on the amount for instance, so we need to do some automated process. So I have just created a diagram for our simple workflow for opportunities. So it's a very simple and straightforward workflow. So it triggers when the amount of the opportunity has changed. It just sends an email to the sales user. The sales user, when it receives the email, just reacts in the CRM on this change, add some comments, and close the workflow. So let's get started. First of all, we navigate to the workbench. If you're familiar with it, I'm already in. So as you see here, we can search for the application or the menu point. So first of all, we need to activate the workflow for the module, and doing that by navigating to modules and filter to search for our module, in this case opportunities, and there you see here workflow as a checkbox on our module. So this checkbox needs to be activated to activate the workflow. I've already done this step. So just by editing, click, so it's disabled now, and so you activate it. So then you have a check to save the changes. So when you have it already saved, now we need just to reload the configuration to get these changes applied in the system. So now we navigate to the workflow manager. There we define our workflow for our opportunities. So now we see here opportunities and the drop down appears. That's because we have activated it from modules. So now if I click on opportunities, I can create a new workflow. Let's give it a name. So symbol process. So we have a frequency here. The frequency you can choose either to be immediately executed, or you can schedule it run once or scheduled run once. So there we have a precondition also. So let's tell when always means anytime you have changes on opportunity, on update, or when the opportunity is new. So for testing purpose, I will keep it on always. And the frequency also, it's recommended to use scheduled, of course, when you have a bigger workflow and takes longer, that you don't need to wait until it has changed. So I confirm. So there we see here, it pops up the start task. So our start task is required, mandatory. Always when you create a new workflow, you need to define a start task. There you see this area condition. That's what matters for us. So that's the trigger. So we need to define a trigger condition. In our case, is the amount. So we search for amount, and when it's greater than 0, let's say, so when the amount has changed, however, I confirm. So as we see here, that's our start task. So now let's start creating the next task. So we have here predefined task types. So this is also configurable. As we see here, we have some standards. So I'm going to use an email task. So, and another standard task, and then we end the workflow. So as we see here, the other tab. That's our workflow. So let's give some names to our tasks. So this task sends an email to the sales user. The next one, sales user take action, and then the workflow ends. And also make some distance between the tasks. And now I need to configure our tasks. So first task, the start task, we have the trigger condition already. So now we configure our email notification. So we need to have a mailbox defined. So I have some predefined mailboxes. There we need to define the type of the recipients. So you can choose either a predefined, so user assigned to tasks, to pins, so take the email address of those people, or you just type in, I will just type in my email address just for testing purpose, and we need of course to select either an email template or a method to get the content of the email will be sent. So I will just take a predefined email template, a very simple one I have already defined for our purpose. So this task is done for now. So I confirm. Then I have my next task here, which is where I need to define who is going to react. So now I assign this task to a user. So this user in our case is assigned to the parent object. The parent object in this case is the opportunity itself, so the parent of the task, the parent module. So when I select this, so the task will appear on the workflow panel for this user. So here I think we're done with it. So we have, as you see, predefined also configurations. So as you see, allow comment is a good configuration for our purpose, that the sales user can add some comments on this task and close. So confirm. Now we have it already done. We have our workflow done. So now we can save the changes. So data saved. Now we are ready to activate our workflow. Already done. Good. So now I have an active workflow. Now we just need to configure our view, our details view for opportunities, to display the workflow panel for the user to take actions or to see which workflows are open or closed on this opportunity. So to do this, we navigate to module configurations. So we select our module opportunities, and there we see an entry called object record view details 2 and 1. So if it's not there, you need to add it by clicking on plus and type in the name 2 and 1 and click on it and add it. So after you add this entry, you will need to select a main component set and select the predefined component set for the sidebar. By default, it's the default sidebar container. I have already changed it to default sidebar container with workflow, which activates the tab for workflow automatically. This is just a component set has the workflow task or the workflow tab in it. So I click save. I've already saved, but just that's what you need to do, and reload the configuration so to get it applied also without the need to log out and log in again. After we have done this, now we are ready to test our workflow. So to test it, I will navigate to opportunities and I will create a new opportunity. So the first opportunity, let's call it, I will select an account because it's mandatory. So fill in the mandatory fields for this. And here is the amount. Let's say it's not 0, it's 50, however, and save and go, which means in this case I have changed. It's a new opportunity, but because I have selected always execute a workflow, so there I should see also an open workflow on this now. So as you can see here, I have already tested some other opportunity workflow. So I see here symbol process. That's what we have created. The other one is previously created. So let's take our workflow which we have defined. We see here symbol process. I am the user who is involved to take action because I'm the assigned user to this opportunity, as you can see here, because in real life example, the assigned user will be another user probably, and this user, when he or she log in, will see in the workflows tab an open workflow, and there he needs to take action to complete this task. As we see here, the first task is already checked, done, send email to the sales user, which means the sales user will receive an email. And here I can show also how it looks like. That's the email I have received. So that's in the template. I took just the value printed out, what we have put in. You can feel free to define your own. So here in this area I can add a comment. It's because it's activated, so you can say okay, fair enough, and add a comment, which means for me looks fine and nothing to do. Of course, where you can make it more complex or add other tasks to the workflow, which makes sense, but just for displaying purpose I just took a symbol workflow. So when you hit complete, which means we are completing this task, taking action. So as you see here, symbol workflow disappears from open workflow and appears in completed workflow. It's already completed now, so if we expand, we see here both tasks are completed. Of course, we don't see the start and the end task because they don't make sense here in this view. And there you see here this icon comment. If you click on it, it just toggles to show which comment this sales user has added on this opportunity, and this is really helpful for documentation purpose. So that's it. We have created our workflow. As you see, it's very simple and straightforward. What we need to do, some steps. Let's summarize what we have done so far. So we have started by activating the workflow in the modules in Workbench. So with the checkbox, there we have the possibility then to create a workflow for opportunities, to get it displayed also here. And we have created our workflow with the start, send email task, and standard task for the user to take action, and ending the workflow without any conditions, and saved and activated our workflow. And that was it. So thank you for watching and have a nice day. Goodbye.